try to slowly choke you and say, we have better laners, we're going to hold off till the 45-minute mark.
NIP is like the turtleneck of teams. They
Yes.
very slowly choke you. Eventually, you will strangle and suffocate and die.
And they look ugly on you as well. Don't ever try one on.
Ninjas and
turtlenecks.
Oh! We're good, guys. They found the new team name. The Lee Sin, the Thresh band away as well. Barney D's favorite support, the Lee Sin from Trashy, makes a bunch of sense. The Draven away from Freeze. That's a fun one. I like seeing Draven. Even just seeing his face is enough for me. I'm like, all right. People remember League of Draven.
It's my Draven fix for the day. Saw his face, that's all I need.
That's all I need. Just the mustache. Even if it was on a different champion, like Lulu with that mustache, good enough.
There's too many videos of that. There are way too many videos.
It's wonderful, though. I look at it every morning to wake me up. I'm like, yep, Draven is a champion who exists. Lulu, though, did come through. This is 4.5 with the Lulu nerfs, but they're happy to pick it up anyway, so that's going to go over to Nuke.
And they banned out Nidalee too, which is one of the safe laners against Lulu.
Yeah.
So if it is going to be a mid lane Lulu, there aren't a ton of options left. You can pick Kayle into it. Senkux is decent on Kayle. He also plays some Yasuo, which is... but we're going to have to see what Senkux brings to the table, because he's very good on ADs. He uses a lot of AD mid laners. Ziggs, still open. Wouldn't be surprised to see that picked up by him, because he had phenomenal games on Ziggs multiple times.
Yeah.
Throughout the semis and quarters.
Yeah, we'll see how well he does if he goes for more long-range wave clear type champions. Right now, the cover over is onto Leona. I got to say, when you've got a very safe team with a Lulu in there, getting some engaged definitely helps a little bit. Of course, they've still got some time to make their choices. I want to see, it's interesting because no one's like rush picking the... I was going to say no one's rush picking the Wriggles Lantern jungle, but then the Nocturne comes in, so I take that back. Early pick goes to a new high-tier jungler in Nocturne.
Yeah, and I like that pick because it's not a Master Yi. Like, I'm still not convinced by Master Yi.
If it was Jungle Fiora, would you be okay with it?
Yes.
Anything
no,
to
I would not be okay with that. Her mana costs are a little too high for Feral Flare. That's a problem too, because like people are thinking Warwick's going to make it, but about level 9, he only has 400 and some odd mana.
Yeah.
His Q costs 110.
What's the thought with that, actually? And you're right that it'll loom because you don't have that same mana sustain you do get from Spirit Stone items, but you don't necessarily have to, I suppose, with Feral Flare. You could just hit W and auto attack, and that actually probably isn't too bad.
Yeah, your clear's a little bit slower.
Sure.
Just mildly. But at the same time, you want to be able to counter jungle people with the Feral Flare and just get it as fast as possible.
Yeah. Well, let's catch up with the picks, though, for now. Elise still coming through there. Nerfs in 4.4 don't seem to matter very much for Roberto, and of course the Lucian coming in for Freeze as well. So NIP picking normal stuff for them.
Yeah, that Elise, very standard, very good in the late game now with the 2-second cocoon. Saw it over in the LCS where it was like, wow, that Elise really paid off in the late game.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what he does with that and if this game even gets to the late game. But looking at Reason Gaming's composition that they're just hovering over right now, I think it might end up in that late game area. That's what they're shooting for.
Yeah, well, they just grabbed a Relia blind pick in the top lane here. Even though they know it's mid Lulu, they're taking their time with their mid lane champion, but Beansu's going to play Aurelia. Champion's been playing a fair bit of, and Chrisland on Caitlyn.
Yeah, and the Aurelia is a contested pick. Zoro Zero and Beansu have both been playing that in solo queue.
Yeah.
Beansu really plays a lot of Jax, and he's recently picked up Aurelia. If you look at his solo queue, his last about 10 games, maybe 5 of them have been Aurelia.
Okay.
So he's really been grinding that in, trying to get better at that. And it's great when you play something and you're preparing yourself for a matchup. You're like, this is a contested pick. I want to take it away from him, but still be comfortable on it myself.
Yeah.
So he's learned that champion. He's really good with it. And I wouldn't be surprised to see like Renekton into it or Shyvana. Very standard things and just try to scale alongside her.
Yeah, and Zoro Zero is always a player we've sort of lauded for his great laning phase.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, NIP in general, like a really strong laning phase team, and even back when the members were on Lemon Dogs, again, that was a team known for the laning phase. But it is going to be Zoro Zero on the Shyvana, as you rightly point out here. Just going to see if he can win the matchup against Aurelia. I feel like Aurelia has maybe a slightly better time late game if she can scale up there. The Morgana also comes in. Morgana versus Leona, a fun matchup. Can you outplay the Black Shield with the stuns? And now, now the mid lane pick for Reason.
It's very difficult, the Leona juggling of the Black Shield. And it's also hard on the Morgana, too. It's not just a very easy matchup where you're like, I Black Shield myself and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, do I Black Shield myself? Do I Black Shield my AD carry? If we're both on top of the Solar Flare, who's my prime target? Very critical split-second thinking. And also the fact that you have to line up the Soul Shackles and put yourself at risk to accomplish that.
True.
A very risky champion.
I mean, you think about the lineup for Reason. They've added Orianna now as well. If you're Morgana running in there, every one of those champions can punish you pretty well, either by locking you down, pushing you away, or getting themselves out. it could be pretty hard to soul shackles in this lineup, but Reason's full comp is here. 2 big divers and a lot of engage. Leona, Orianna to set up fights, Nocturne, Aurelia to deal havoc in the front lines. It's a fun comp for Reason, and I like it. It's a comp that fits the adaptations you can make in 4.5.
Yeah, and the Nocturne Orianna combination,
Oh, yeah.
Paranoia into Shockwave when having the ball on you.
Yeah.
You're going to be on top of somebody. Hopefully that person's a backliner, and there's other people around him collapsing. Just get more damage out of that, see if Senkux can really bring the pain.
Yeah.
And I want to look at summoner spells as they come out here and what people are going to be running on the table. Looks like a lot of people are favoring heal. Teleports in the top lane. Heal, no surprise there.
Yeah.
But it's kind of making some supports abandon Ignite in favor of Exhaust.
Yeah, it's one I want to kind of keep tracking, actually. There's a couple things that I'd heard from talking to players. One is that, like, people thought Heal Mundo was going to make a comeback, because even if you got Ignited, you could remove the debuff and then regen with your ulti.
Yeah, that was like a for fun thing I threw out there once. I was like, Heal Mundo's going to be great.
I really think it would work, though. But yeah, looking at the other sort of matchups here, I saw, at least at the time, I saw Barrier on the mid lane Orianna, so with no one around to heal, just grabs the Barrier. It actually is a bit better for selfish stats. I think Heal is the go-to summoner spell for AD carries right now.
Yeah.
I think the difference between Heal and Barrier is not that high individually. Barrier is slightly better if you have no one else to worry about, but because you have a teammate you could haste, you can maybe heal. I think Heal AD carry is the standard, and then I think supports can choose. You can choose double heal, you can choose the newly buffed Exhaust that, well, I guess it doesn't slow as much, but you have much more damage reduction with it, and then Ignite is still kind of the old standby.
Yeah, and Exhaust, because it was buffed a tiny bit, or at least a little bit changed.
Yeah.
Because the attack speed is now 30% as opposed to 50, and then they swap that over on the damage reduction too.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's more effective.
Applicable to more champions.
Yeah, it's more effective against casters, and now it has a longer range, so you can actually use it on casters
Yeah.
from a decent distance. Not us, though. Not these casters.
No.
Leave
Don't
us
exhaust us. We brought Cleanse. It's useless. Don't even try. I'm watching you.
But at the same time, NIP versus Reason Gaming.
Yeah.
They fought before. NIP went 2-0 over Reason Gaming, and now 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
Who can bring the best adaptation the fastest? That is really what's coming to the table here. Like NIP, we know they have the superior laning in terms of mechanics.
Yeah.
But can Reason step up to the plate, have Trashy carry the game, and with more aggressive junglers on the field?
Yeah.
In the meta? That suits his style.
I think this is a slightly better patch for Reason. I think you're correct about this, where I think the ball is more in the jungler's court to carry, that they can go for the Wriggles, Feral Flare junglers. I think this also fits the Reason playstyle because Trashy, I think, is their best player. And also, it's just kind of a fun thing with League of Legends, at least to me as an observer.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone has their own opinions about it, but I like that teams have to adapt every couple of weeks if the game changes. Sometimes very little. Okay, well, Lulu lost 50 damage in this one case, or because, hey, 3 new junglers showed up as top-tier junglers. Learn these, get used to it, get comps around them, and the ability of a team to constantly adapt. And I think this is good for a couple of reasons. One, because it keeps the game more exciting, and two, it allows teams to actually be able to show up. Like, if there's, at this point, 4.5 years worth of, like, League of Legends out there in the world. And it's like, if you're Counter Logic Gaming, you're Hotshot GG, and you've been playing the same game for 1.5 years, there's just things that no one else will ever understand again. But if the game keeps changing on a little bit, like the guy who shows up, like you've got newer players showing up, like, heck, these guys on Reason Gaming, for example, right? It's like, hey, the game has changed enough since then that you don't need 4.5-year-old information, and you can have kind of more pros bubble up to the surface. I think those are all kind of good things.
Yeah, and it promotes just a healthy environment. And
Yeah.
all constantly changing.
Yeah.
Which is really, really good. And the fact that we brought up the Feral Flare, that allows junglers, in my opinion, to actually carry a little bit more in the late game. Because you can, instead of just ganking all the time, you can have farm just accumulating and stacking it up. That's fine. Because before it was like there's a lot of pressure on you to gank and make something happen for your lanes. Which is why NIP won previously. Because Trashy was trying to gank all the time, and they just warded and played safe and just kept up in CS, got tiny leads, and then just exploded after one team fight. They were like, all right, that's it. We're at 4 items, and now the game's over at 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas now, Trashy has the option to just farm his jungle and get himself stronger for that impending team fight.
Yeah. And he can still force ganks by being Nocturne, right? Gank for Aurelia versus Shyvana, which, I mean, depending on Dragon's Descent, we'll see how it goes. But you've got a Leona lane in the bottom lane. You've got Orianna Shockwaves in the mid. Like, there's a lot of opportunities here for Trashy to make plays for a Reason. I think on the other side, we can talk about NIP a little bit. I feel like we've been talking about Reason so much because they're the underdogs here.
And they're also less known.
It's true, yeah. There's more to say about them.
Yeah, and NIP, Quick Shot and Joe gave us the little rundown of what's happening there.
EpicSkillshot gave his shots fired, his opinions there on this one.
They weren't very quick. They were pretty long-winded.
Yeah, his long-winded fires. That didn't work. I missed that one. It's okay. But yeah, we're going to get ourselves into the game pretty soon on this one. And the other thing to really talk about with 4.5 as well is the big rune changes. We're not seeing ubiquitous armor seals. The ones that I've been seeing primarily from AD carries and supports in the bottom lane is a mix of, generally it's like 3 to 4, maybe 5 armor seals and the rest being health seals. That's the common sort of setup I'm seeing from guys who are like, I might get all in, it's a brutal lane, I'll get between 3 and 5 armor and the rest health, or sometimes just 9 health seals. And then what I see a lot more is health regen quints seem very common among top laners. Beansu in this game is actually running 3 health regen quints right here. And then you can see like armor per level or health per level from mid laners if they're not worried about getting all in.
Yeah, because your whole job as a top laner is to just stay in the lane, farm as much as possible, so that when the team fight does happen, you're still relevant. Don't give up the lane. Don't give up any kills. That's basically your only job is to not die.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter. Just go even to farm.
Yep.
Just don't die.
Yeah. And I mean, you're Aurelia. You're going to scale incredibly well. Yeah. Like, you just want to survive and get the attack speed going on. You're going to be pretty happy overall. And for those of you who haven't sort of seen any of the math or any of the numbers on this one, basically, when you're deciding what kind of defensive seal to go for, the 4 big ones being armor per level, health per level, flat armor, flat health, they're all relatively balanced against each other. Think about what the seal brings to you. Like, oh, level 1, flat health is the best seal for that, for kind of obvious reasons. Hey, late game, I'm worried about Zed. Armor per level is the obvious one there. They all fit those definitions. So if you're kind of wondering intuitively, what do I run here? It all sort of makes sense in terms of what am I facing early, what am I facing late, what do I need? The math works out that pick the one that makes sense and it's actually the right choice.
That's your answer on the Scantron.
Basically. All of the above, you know.
Okay.
Bubble E. Oh, the Dark Binding hits Crislin. Not going to be happy, but here comes Trash trying to help out. The stun on Roberto. The team's actually going to survive, but that's 2 summoners down for Reason Gaming's AD carry.
Just exploded in that. NIP had been setting that up from the start. Started with an early ward, put it in that bush, got the exhaust from Mithy.
Yeah, they did.
For a flash and a heal. Which worked. Definitely in laning phase here.
Yeah.
So it gives Lucian more pressure, gives them actual kill potential in that lane onto Caitlyn, who's normally, post level 2, is very hard to kill.
And keep in mind, heal's cooldown is going to be longer than Mithy's exhaust.
Yeah.
Heal's a 240-second cooldown. Mithy, I don't know if he's a player who typically goes deep utility tree, but that cooldown could be as low as 188. Actually, he does. He has a biscuit. So he hits 189-second cooldown on exhaust versus 240. He's got basically a minute where he's got a summoner against 0.
Which is huge. Because if you're going to catch him out, he doesn't have that extra movement speed, doesn't have that extra boost in HP.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing, too, with the barrier. Barrier has a lower cooldown by 30 seconds. This is the 210. But also, you can use barrier preemptively if you see something flying at you and you're full HP. So that's the caveat there. It doesn't give you the bonus movement speed. And we've seen a lot of mid laners kind of juggle between the two. People are having identity crisis. They're like, I've always taken barrier. Now I got to swatch over to heal. Swatch over.
Swatch over.
Swap. Swatch. Swatch over.
Swatch over. That's how it's going to work. So right now, Reason is pushed under the turret. The engaged by Barney D. Some decent damage done towards Mithy. And of course, there's minions to block the Dark Binding. But you're seeing 15-9 so far in minions across these 2 champions. NIP having a better time so far in the laning phase. Got a 100 gold lead overall. We'll see if Reason can stabilize this duo lane.
And we didn't touch on Freeze versus Crystalline. Crystalline is a very consistent player. In their loss, Reason Gaming's lost to NIP, the 2-0. Crystalline had the best KDA on his team. He only gave up 2 kills across 2 games, which is huge, especially since the rest of his team was getting destroyed.
Yeah.
So him versus Freeze is going to be a matchup to watch and see how they do. But right now, it's been tipped in NIP's favor because of that early invade. They didn't get a buff off it. They got summoner spells.
Yeah.
Both of his. So he's at high risk here, and I would not be surprised to see a gank come down there.
Yeah.
Very shortly.
I'm wondering when Roberto shows up with his
Well, they have the lane
gank.
push, too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
he could sneak himself into a bush.
Yeah, absolutely. He could sneak in and lane gank it, or he could simply he could dive at the turret, just depending what happens. Trashy, of course, trying to farm as much as possible. Already has his Madrid's Razor. So you're seeing 18-13 in minions across these 2 junglers. So that's been identified properly so far. We'll see if Trashy can take people out.
And see if he's made the mental switch, too. Because he's always... previously he was always about the ganking. He's about the going. Get in there, get the kills for my team, and that's how they made it as far as they did. Then versus NIP's like, oh, we're not going to push up or do anything. And now he's playing a farming jungler that will scale.
Yeah.
Bottom lane, though, Freeze, Mythy, they're like, oh, well, he's playing a farming jungler. We're going to push all the way up, and there's no fear here.
Exactly. It actually sets them up in the rune page, actually, to keep you guys kind of appraised of what's going on. Attack speed Quince got buffed. Freeze actually running a whole bunch of them. No lifesteal on Freeze, actually, just running a bunch of attack speed Quince. You can see doing good damage to the turret. That turret's already almost gone at 5.5 minutes. Whereas Crizzlin's like trying to still sustain, running lifesteal Quince himself. Taking more damage. The Q harass coming off. Not quite enough damage, but you're seeing, even with lifesteal, Crizzlin's having a really hard time here.
That piercing light was really close to touching Crizzlin.
Yeah.
Doing a little bit of his HP. Like, Freeze is level 4, so he had at least 2 ranks in that. It may have been enough.
Would have been, 100-something damage at least, yeah. Got to be a little bit worried about this one. Barney D going to try to freeze the lane. No, he's going to be able to. He's got to jump back now underneath the turret. He'll get experience, but not a ton of gold in this one. We see in the mid lane, we've actually already got the recalls for both mid laners. Going to be Chalice for both these guys. Do have to give some props to SemiFinals, though. He's going to have a small minion lead after he clears his wave out. So he's actually holding the line against Nukeduck completely well. In top lane, 0-0 versus Beansu, again, a very close one where Aurelia is completely holding here.
Yeah, and looks like Reason Gaming learned from their previous game in matchup. They're saying, we can go ahead and play the farm game too. We won't be hyper-aggressive, give up kills, because that's how NIP is going to play. They're going to play this reserved farm game until they can get like guaranteed dives, guaranteed kills. They're very low-risk, medium reward, low-risk, low-reward types of plays.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how they're going to play this one out as they keep scaling up. NIP do have 300 gold right here. Gilberto's also waiting right on the top side. Level 6 for both top laners. Beansu a bit low on mana. But Trashy's going to spot the double golems are gone. It says, oh, wait, I see Gilberto. Puts the ward down to guaranteed. This should be much safer now for Beansu.
And to touch on what happened in the bottom lane, because they know there won't be a gank there, there's a little bit of an item advantage here for Freeze, because he has boots, and he has Vamp Scepter as opposed to just a Doran's, the longsword. So Doran's is a really good pickup because he's getting bullied early on. But of course, it doesn't transition into anything, so it's just kind of sitting in his inventory combat stats that he will eventually have to sell back.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice because you can actually afford a Vamp Scepter if you bought Longsword Doran's.
Yes.
It's actually the same cost as buying a Vamp Scepter. So it does give Crizzlin more combat stats for now, which I think is the right choice. I know you identified that, but he could have bought Lifesteal and said, I'd rather have more AD and health in this one. See how well that pays off for him. Of course, back into the lane they go with still 18 minions separating the two of them. Trashy is starting the blue buff. Will he even give that up to Orianna? Looks like yes. SemiFinals will be grabbing this. So even though he is a Madrid's Razor jungler.
Oh, he wants that extra Feral Flare stack.
I know, right? But not going to get it. That does count ever since you actually, even with Hunter's Machete.
Yep.
From the very beginning of the game, you're basically getting stacks towards that. So
as soon as you buy your Wriggles, it'll have like a little number that says 12 or 14, however many large minions you've already killed in the game since buying Hunter's Machete, which I hope you buy at level 1.
Yeah, I think the days of Doran's Blade jungler are mostly over. I've seen a couple in the season, but
yeah,
generally speaking, it's very, very rare at this point.
Some fiddlesticks every now and then.
Yeah, they'll go like Doran's Ring, they'll do something like that.
But if they were building Feral Flare, I had to have a talk with them.
Yeah, it's just weird. Fiddlesticks is not a build, guys. Please don't.
Isn't he your favorite champion in the game?
He was up there. He's still one of my probably top 15 or so, but 0-0 pushing around, taking a bit of damage down towards Beansu.
Took a lot of turret shots there too.
Yeah.
0-0, we talked about how he typically doesn't lose the lane at all. Comes back with Bilgewater Cutlass, has a lot of lifesteal in his inventory, up against Zerker's Greaves here for Aurelia, who's going to use that and try to get the more hit 10 style hits off. She has some built into her kit, but this matchup, 0-0, he just doesn't lose head-to-heads.
Typically not, no.
Which we see here in terms of CS. But those extra turret shots, he's going to keep taking things like that.
Yeah, that's a bit risky. I would say not fighting the 1v2 with the turret involved. The ideal situation here for 0-0. Both these top laners have burned their teleports to get back into lane after they bought items, so those aren't going to be up for the next about minute to a minute and a half for these guys. We'll see if that means anything for a dragon fight. Barney D still taking a bit of harass in this one, but the AD carry is trying to equalize here. More damage, honestly. Barney D trying to keep the lanes frozen, trying to keep his teammates safe, but you still see this turret very low on health. And another piercing light comes across. This is about to be the lane win for NIP.
Well, Trashy is off on the side. He has his Paranoia available. Has not been seen by the ward because it's just over the wall. Roberto is coming around, though.
He's gotten spotted,
the pincer.
Oh. Puts the ward over the wall. Trashy sees him, puts one down himself. Both junglers kind of sheepishly back off, but the harass still found by Mithy. Putting the health bars down.
Oh, he gets it. Don't know if he wanted it.
Yeah, he gets the black shield out at least, but with Hilberto waiting around in the wings, he went back through the dragon area. There's going to be no possible dive attempt. We instead watch to the top lane. You can see now 400 gold ninjas in Pyjamas are winning this slow laning phase here. And Beansu, I feel like, is actually in a spot where he can probably fight pretty well against Zoro Zero. Zergreaves, I think, are a pretty big power spike for Aurelia. And also, she's about to hit level 9 for the max rank E10 style, which is another big one.
Yeah, all things attack speed are really good on Aurelia.
Yeah. I think Ruin King will be your first big recipe item after the Berserker's Reaves as well.
And then maybe your favorite, a Trinity Force.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
They both give attack speed. They both give movement speed in their own ways.
That's true.
They're important stats for Aurelia. But this turret, I mean, it's down to like 150 health right now.
Yeah.
I don't see Reason holding this one very easily. Hilberto isn't waiting around right now. He's actually off in his own jungle getting double golems, but I think he knows that there's this potential defense there, and he's camping by his bottom lane until this turret goes down.
Ooh, it's so close. It is so close. It's about to keel over.
Uh-oh, Chris taking even more damage. The dive might come in. Barney D, though, down to 200 health. He's got a flash away. Reason Gaming holding on a bit longer than they needed to. This turret's going to go down next wave.
That's going to be first blood, but on a turret. First turret blood.
First turret blood.
Before first blood.
First stone.
First stone.
Stone.
They cast the first stone.
There you go. They did it.
Almost 12 minutes in here. But the dragon is actually in their sights because they can just go ahead and get this turret very easily with minion wave or with freeze. And there we go.
Times the recall pretty well. Doesn't miss out too much. Hilberto and Mithy by themselves take out the dragon. So Ninjas in Pyjamas turn their better laning phase into a couple of global objectives. They're now 2,000 gold in the lead. And they're looking like the team that beat Reason Gaming just about a month ago.
Yeah, and now, like you said, 2,000 gold up, transitioning that into a BF sword for freeze. But at the same time, Crystallin's going to return with the same in kind, but he's down 30 CS as a Caitlyn.
Yeah.
You're being lane bullied by Lucian. That's the typical thing where we see Caitlyn, Lucian all the time.
Yeah, they're the popularity carries for sure.
Yeah, and it's whoever comes out on top of that. They usually just crush it. If you get a tiny bit of a lead, you just run away with it.
And we'll see if they can hold on any more with this one. Thankfully, I guess, well, Bloodthirster will be done much, much sooner for Freeze. He's also up a Boots' speed on this one, so I got to say he's definitely winning against Crislin, but I want to see if they can transition this lead anywhere. 12 minutes in, NIP not making any big attempts to do anything flashy here. They're actually going back to their own lanes, holding the bottom turret. Nuke Duck in this battle with Sengex. We saw them actually trade ultimates not too long ago. Both of them about to be back up from cooldown. Beansu again in a fight with Zoro Zero. You're seeing him down to 1,000 health, though.
Yeah, he has phase, so he has stickiness. He can go ahead and get on him and chase him down. Every time he gets an auto attack or a kill on a minion with his Blade Surge, he can chase you down and actually Blade Surge to you again if you run away.
We'll see if he goes for any more trades right here. Beansu just kind of successfully last-hitting a whole bunch. And you notice he's, going in for a bit of harass. He's actually pushing Zoro Zero off the minion wave. But as it pushes down, I feel like Zoro could last hit these fairly quickly.
And here's the thing, too, is Trashy actually hasn't ganked anybody. Just been sitting around in his jungle trying to farm it up. Has not completed Feral Flare. Usually around 16, 17 minutes if you're farming really well.
Yeah, we'll look for the combined time. But you're right. He did camp bot lane for a little bit. He was there about a minute and a half.
No paranoia.
Yeah, hasn't used it. Hasn't found the opening really. I mean, the threat of it being up does actually stop a lot of Elise ganks. Because he knows that he can come around 21,
he's at 21
stacks right now. So he's one full jungle spear away from Feral Flare. Barney D in a fight. Nice block by Mithy, but he's low on health. Forced to flash away. Black Shield onto Freeze.
There it is.
And there's a jump in. A lot of damage coming in from Nocturne, but gets exhausted. Has to jump back. Crislin with the Q doesn't hit it.
The
Dark Binding. He's got no health. First blood goes to Freeze. It's going to be the disengage now for Reason. Can they get out? Freeze low on mana. Q comes in from Trashy. Mithy will have Dark Binding up again. Can Barney D dodge this? Does juke, but he's low. No turret.
He has the extra stats.
Okay, he'll be safe.
So the exhaust coming up big there. 50% damage reduction. Beansu getting ganked by Hilberto. Ouch.
Flash Cocoon flashed away, but it does get the lane pressure. And you can see, as soon as Paranoia was used, there comes the gank attempt. There comes the dive attempt. Makes it happen.
We're going to see it here. They start the fight off. Mithy tanks it, but it procs the Sunlight, flashes there, and that cues Trashy. I have to close that distance. He actually flashes to get in, and the heal comes down onto both of them, and the exhaust onto Trashy. He's taking turret shots, has to get out. Perfect Dark Binding by Crislin. And Barney D tries to help his comrade. But he can't.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. The exhaust was actually partially blocked by Black Shield. The slow didn't come through. The damage reduction still will, right? You can still cast that over the top of Black Shield, but not slowing down Lucian actually kind of hurt the team in the dive attempt right there.
Also the fact that they put heal on top of it too.
Yeah.
So they both got the 30% increased movement speed.
Helped quite a bit. I'm going to see having the summoner spells up did do a bit here. Actually, both the dual lanes did run the same summoners, of course. Heal and exhaust across the two champions. But the gold lead is actually growing even farther right there. A second turret went down. The top lane outer died because of the efforts of Zoro0, who's got his Cutlass plus Sunfire Cape done. That puts NIP now almost 4,000 gold ahead. This lead keeps growing for their very reserved, smart play style with these guys. Playing the laning phase and saying, Gilberto, when you're ready, make a move.
Yeah, it's really just slow, methodical NIP from start to finish once again. They have a lot of confidence in their laning phase. A lot of confidence that they just rest the entire game on it and then group up and team fight with this. Wait, there's only been one kill, two turrets, and they're 4K gold up because of their dragon. Now if they were to group up, they'd be like, oh, we have 25% more gold than you do.
Yep.
We're good to go.
It's a very, very big deal. And honestly, the one lane that wins the most from NIP is that Freeze Mithy lane.
Yeah.
Like, Zoro0 Beansu went pretty equal for a while, finally got tipped later on. Senkuk's nuke duck pretty close as well within 10 CS. Gilberto's been given room, though, to make moves towards bottom. Maybe some counter ganks if he needs to. He was there a couple of times. Turned the top lane around once the jungler was pulled around, but just Freeze and Mithy are winning by themselves.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. Because of those lanes on the sides, both have the turret down. They're free to roam around the jungle, take away all of those creeps, and now Trashy, just now completing his Feral Flare at the 16.5 minute, split the difference.
Yeah, there you go.
On the 16-17. Now he has to start stacking that up, but there's nothing left for him to farm. He can't really counter jungle because it's too far away, and they don't have the vision coverage. And at the same time, all of his camps are being taken away by Gilberto, who's just pitched a tent there.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess the rest of the team can keep pushing forward. Trashy does want this engage, though. Shotgun comes in. There's the paranoia. It's going to be enough. Spell Shield is going to keep him in a decent spot right there. The Fear does come through in a nuke duck. Shields himself. The teleport coming in from Zoro0 means that Trashy's going to have to run away from this one through the dissonance. Zoro0 still on the flank. Beansu's going to have to recall before he goes in for this fight. He's going to start healing up in the fountain. It looks like a Reason might be allowed to disengage. Another ward comes out. No, Zoro0 still wants this.
They're teleporting to it.
Going to be a ward over the wall. Is going to spot this. Is slow. Not going to come out from Lulu. Beansu on a 5-minute cooldown. He's not going to have that for the dragon fight.
Zoro0 also used his to get engaged, but down bottom.
Going to see Barnady forced to run away from this one. Good damage from the culling coming out as well, but honestly, no real fights coming through. Looks like it's going to be the damage and the disengage.
And Gilberto's off on the side. Dragon is live, so they can just peel off and go get it. Or he could go ahead and rotate, or do both afterwards.
Yeah. Why the heck not?
Yeah.
Do whatever they want. It's NIP. They're winning right now.
He's Elise. He'll just have his little minions tank it. He'll be all good.
Going to be in pretty decent spot for this one. Of course, this is 4.5 Dragon as well, meaning it doesn't slow attack speed anymore. It just reduces your damage by a percentage, which actually makes it kind of the same against Elise for the most part. Because once she gets into spider form, it's mostly just hitting the auto attacks. I guess it's a slight nerf to her damage output on this one.
Yeah, because she has a lot of spells.
Yeah.
The damage of those are reduced. It's pretty much to be like, oh, Fiddlesticks can't solo it as much.
The first 3 or 4 spells are going to come through at full power before he swings at you. But yeah, your second, third rotations is going to go down a bit. Well, it's going to be the blue buff once again for these guys. These junglers are giving the blues to their mid laners. Even with the Wriggles Lantern and all that, Trashy's going to sacrifice his 1 life on hit and give the extra CDR to his mid laner.
He also realizes that he needs to be a little more tanky. Goes ahead and buys the giant belt for himself.
Yeah.
Look, working towards a Brutalizer, possibly Yomu's Ghostblade, which is multiplicative with the activate and the attack speed on top of your Feral Flare. And you have chase potential as well. So I really like those items in combination.
Yeah, it's kind of the go-to build right now. Zoro0 Beansu still in a bit of a fight with this one. Looks like it's going to be the disengage. Flash in the dark binding by Senkuk, but that is a 5-minute summoner spell down right now. NIP just making these small rotations, 5,000 gold, 5,500 gold actually.
Well, they own the jungle and they own the vision control right now. So they can keep tabs on Reason Gaming. Almost. Oh.
Almost made that one
happen.
happen.
Heat right there.
Yep. Happy he didn't get dark binded. Still 0-0-0 on this Aurelia. He's still waiting to catch up and finally get his first big power spike. Triforce should be done fairly soon. Stun on the Gilberto. Good damage early on. As repelled by Elise Barnady, walking into melee range. Not going to land the Q stun though. Dark binding not quite going to land either though. Zoro0 pushed away, but both have flash.
Gets away just barely. They both had flash available to them.
Yeah.
So not a super high-risk situation. He also had Dragon's Descent. But Beansu, the fact that he's still able to duel Zoro Zero, doesn't have a completed item up against 2. Blade Rune King is now done, and the Sunfire Cape is really telling of how powerful Aurelia is.
Yes. In
the right hands.
Yeah, Beansu's doing a great job with this one, but unfortunately he's just not having enough impact with his team. He had lost his turret. That does mean there's some extra gold going NIP's way because of the laning phase in this one. We're still waiting to see. That was unfortunate. Auto attack finally gets it. Yay, Nuke Duck. All right, Triforce done. Now it's time to watch what this matchup really does here. Teleports up in 2 minutes for both top laners. We'll see if that comes into play again in this game. It did stop dives on both sides, but otherwise fairly temperate.
And NIP's been really good at handling the paranoias from Trashy. Just dealing with them in a very calm, collected, defensive manner. That haven't been very effective. But Marnie, he's in turret range.
Wow, yeah, he was...
So many hits.
I mean, he was basically a Q and Ignite away from dying. Had to flash away after the Dark Binding landed. NIP, it's a story of the team. They just find these like little incremental things that work out. Oh, here's a pick here, here's a Flash Force there, here's a Siege right here, here's 20 CS in the lane. And you're seeing actually 60 now minions among the AD carries. You're seeing most of a Triforce done for Freeze, whereas you barely got Zerfreeze even started for Crislin right there. Flash Force from the top laner. Mid laner goes down, Senkux falls, mid turret's gonna finally go down with the rotation. Ninjas and Pyjamas take till 21 minutes, but when it happens, they show up mid. 7,000 gold now.
Exactly. Only 1 kill up, now they get another, and those turrets just going into their pocket. The Dragon, the map control, that's all they had to do was play the lanes, and that's the NIP way, and they do it again.
Well, laners in Pyjamas here, they're going to do a good job of this one. Mid lane turret, all 3 outers are gone in this one. Beansu, unfortunately, slowly getting whittled down in his top lane there. Going to see if they can do much else with this one. Krislin's still trying to catch up in items, but it's going to take him so long to get the damage of Freeze, who's got a Triforce very soon in this one. Honestly, it's just happy things for NIP in this one. Again, a fight between Beansu and Zoro Zero. Just disengages up the E10 style. Normal stuff in this one. Triforce doesn't really seem to change the matchup very much. No. Zoro just like uses Ruin King almost on cooldown, just for like the
damage.
Yeah, it's like it's gonna come back up next time it really matters. Get some damage down, get some health back, no big deal.
And Beansu's just relying on the hit 10 passive for the heal, which is not that much.
Yeah.
Especially considering you're this late in the game. Oh, Nuke Duck.
It's gonna be a slow and a Nuke Duck. Good damage from the distance as well. Nice knockup's gonna get Barney a little bit out of range with this one. It'll be a nice disengage. Well played by Nuke Duck on that one.
Still doesn't have flash. It's a very dangerous situation. Gets out with his life in a 2v3. And now we have Mithy here to back it up.
Just the wave clear.
Oh,
So good.
oh!
This could be the death of Krislin. Nice Cocoon's going to land as well. Will they find much more? They're going to back off. The casters were without cooldowns there. But remember, Freeze has been split pushing in the bottom lane. Reason tried so hard to make the mid lane work that they gave time to NIP's AD carry. We've got even more farm. He's now up almost 80 minions.
So it's a 1-3-1 split push, but they're going to go for the mid.
Well, he's going to stay in range. Black Shield comes across. Nothing going to really land. Shockwave will find Mithy there. Going to flash the Zenith Blade. In comes Beansu on the side. Teleport comes in from Shyvana as well. Bot lane turret goes down. Nice binding on a Beansu. Takes a shield, but he's low on health. He would have died with that Orianna shield.
But here comes Freeze from the side. What can he do?
A lot of damage to Trashy.
He's got a lot of damage.
Dash the way, finds the Q as well. Krislin very low on health, forced to flash. He's almost going to go down. He does. Freeze on a killing spree there. Every single kill for the team actually went onto him. NIP even farther ahead now.
10k gold with 3 kills, just taking down the turrets, taking down the objectives. Dragon is up to 25, and just pushing up that mid lane right now with Freeze. The rotation, they were doing a 1-3-1. That cues Reason Gaming, we should engage with Trashy. They go in, complete peel backwards, no real attempt to fight, just whittle them down, try to soft disengage. Then they re-engage with Freeze when he joins the fight with a great rotation after getting the bottom turret. Just right on point there, and that's why he has every kill on his team, because he has that map awareness and he knows where he needs to be.
Yeah, he's doing a wonderful job of this one. 256 minions, highest in the game. Guy's level 14 as well, which I believe also ties him roughly for first place. So, guy's gigantic on Lucian. Honestly, having a great game. Triforce should be done when he goes back to base, but he hasn't bought in a good long time, but that's fine. Whenever he wants to. Lucian takes his time with these things. He has 3,000 gold in his pockets.
That was a...
He can almost one-shot it with a Last Whisper afterwards. Close to it.
So even without the gold he has in his inventory, he has the most effective combat stats in the game. He's sitting on about 7,000 gold worth. Everybody else had about 7,000 on the enemy team on Reason Gaming.
Yeah.
But they had about 500 in their pockets.
Yeah, counting pocket change, yeah.
So they were even less. It's crazy.
pretty significant. The mid lane now getting sieged up. 0-0 ignoring Beanzu, now running away from him a little bit. He's got to be a bit careful there. Barney D's nearby, pops the Dragon's Descent, keeps him mostly safe. The stun's not going to mean too much to a Dragon. 0-0's going to back out.
The low cooldown disengage here from NIP is just doing wonders for them. The movement speed increases that they have available for their tank and Lulu, who can just help anybody. It's just really letting them kite backwards. In Reason Gaming, they try to put the pressure on, even though they're 12k gold down, is just a testament to them and how aggressive they are. But at the same, like that is a very aggressive play.
Yeah, but he backs out. He makes it safe. He knows Mithy's there for the Black Shield. Can't get locked down. Barnard, he doesn't have enough damage to break a Black Shield, so there's no threat there. It's completely fine. Reason look again for the mid lane siege. Looks like the rest of their lanes are in at least decent shape, but you have to give so much respect to Nuke Duck and everyone that Reason can't make these pushes stick.
It's unfortunate because they're just going to get more and more outscaled just because not NIP's champions in particular, it's just the NIP style.
Yeah.
We've talked about it over and over again that they just get a tiny lead and then they escalate it more and more. They turn, and it's like investments. NIP are like professional bankers here.
Yeah.
They're like, look at that. We got 1,000 gold, put it in the bank for 26 minutes. Let's make it
12,000 gold.
12,000. It's ridiculous. That's a big return.
That's significant. I wish I got that kind of return. That'd be wonderful. I would be rich so quickly.
Ninjas and bankers.
Ninjas. Bankers and
Bankers in pajamas.
Bankers in pajamas. There you go. Bankers and turtlenecks.
Bip. No. Now we're just combining.
Why not? Well, 45 to 33,500 gold. Ninjas in pajamas. I want to see where their next move ends up being. The lanes are all past the river. They've got all their spots on the map going in the enemy team's direction. Take the blue buff really quickly. These guys don't actually drop these incremental advantages. They never let blue go to waste. They don't let Dragon go to waste. They keep everything on timers. Then when everything's off the map, they said, okay, we could try sieging again. But even when they siege, it's oftentimes a split push. Nuke Duck finds a bit of a slow on a Sencooks. Oriana's not having the best time of this one. You can see Sencooks still waiting on Death Cap to be done, whereas Nuke Duck's almost all the way to Void Staff in this one. You can just see down the line, like an item or an item and a half lead.
They are just doing so much better right now. And last time we talked about it, I said it wasn't even close. And it wasn't. It's pretty much being a mirror game of last time they met. Freeze.
You know, he added an Infinity Edge.
Even before he got Triforce completed.
Yeah, he backed with 4k gold and was like, you know what? Never mind. Eye Edge, big burst of damage. Has enough attack speed anyway from Zerk Greaves and the Zeal that, honestly, that build pays off. I don't think it's actually a bad choice right here for him. In this situation, there's no armor tank to speak of. You've got a ward of the only armor item. What? He's got Black Shield. It's going to be Barney D overextending for a Black Shield and going down. Freeze. 4-0. He's still got every one of his team's kills.
100% kill stealing, not just participation.
Securing.
Securing. Okay. Okay. And none of them were actually really steals. Just giving him a hard time. Now Zoro, he's being collapsed on, but he's got Dragon's Ascent. He's got Flash available to him. But this is pulling the attention of Trashy away from the Baron.
And you're going to see the entire team on the wrong side of their NIP say, we've had ward control for long enough. We're going to start this one out. The entire Reason Gaming lineup on the wrong side of the map. Ironically, the right side of the map. NIP going to take Baron down at 28 minutes. And they're on their way to a perfect game.
They are. Oh, wow. If no kills, no turrets go down, it would be perfect.
No dragons.
It's going to be a perfect game. It's very possible. NIP just need one solid team fight. But the thing is that I don't know, they keep pushing the waves up too. It's very well within their grasp to do that. And if they can pull that off, that is extremely demoralizing for Reason Gaming.
Yeah.
Especially in a best of 3. You got to play right after this one too.
You got to play game 2 and maybe a game 3. If you can win that second one right here. Ninjas in Pajamas, though, well in control. On their way to a spot in the LCS promotion tournament. You win the best of 3 here. You're guaranteed top 2. You fight Cloud and Eclipse tomorrow. We're going to see what happens here. The dive comes in. Barney D is going to drop rather quickly. The damage coming in towards Mithy and Freeze. Freeze actually fairly low here. Puts the W down.
Oh, no.
He's going to take some damage. The shot coming in. Mithy flashing away, stays alive, but there comes Beanzu. Beanzu going to try to knock down Freeze. He's going to flash out. They're still alive. Nice stun comes in as well. More damage comes through. Krislin, 1 hit from dead. And the bottom lane still getting pushed by 0-0 because Reason Gaming get pushed off this turret.
The heal coming in big there. And meanwhile, 0-0 down in the bottom lane. He's going to get an inhibitor turret for this and possibly an inhibitor. They have to back, but that's going to allow their top lane to collapse on that tier 2 and get that as well. So NIP taking a lot of objectives for just this skirmish, this fight up top that they won wholeheartedly.
Yeah, they get a 1 for 0, and they get 2 turrets out of it. Great start right here for Ninjas in Pyjamas. You're going to continue on this one. 30 minutes in, they're looking at inhibitor turret number 2. Cocoon lands on a Senkux. He's going to get out of that one pretty safely. You've got Nukeduck splitting the top, in the mid lane. Other 3 pushing in the top lane, getting that one down pretty safely. You can just see how much damage Freeze does. He actually failed to secure one of the kills. 5-0-1 now. But, I mean, he's got Triforce when he gets back to base. He's got a lot of money in his pockets right now. NIP are going to keep scaling up. He can actually get Triforce plus last Whisper now.
3,600, 3,700. Sit on Beansu. He's got a Zoro on him. Flash is available. Dragon's Descent as well.
Yeah, looks like he's just not going to overextend for this one. NIP, they're going to stay up in the top lane. Black Shield still coming down, keeping him safe. Zoro just pushing his opponents away and whittling down the inhibitor. Top inhib already dead. Bot inhib about to fall as well. And team simply rotates to the mid lane.
Zoro, they're trying to put a lot into him here, but Nukeduck's there.
Some decent early damage, but mid inhibitor turret goes down as well. NIP just not even relenting here. They've got so many items they could buy, and they don't even care about this one. Bottom inhib finally falls. Mid inhib going to take some damage as well. This could be the game. Ninjas in Pyjamas. 31 minutes in, have all the inhibitors dead. They've got 6 kills. They've controlled the objectives all game long, and they're staying for the Nexus.
They have a lot of potential combat stats here. They're 20k up in gold. They have it backed with a lot of it. But this last push, gold doesn't matter. You've been in the game, that's it. That's all you want. That's your end goal. It's not to be rich.
Man.
Oh, wow.
Marty D gets sniped out in the back line. 0-0 is going to be the front line. It's going to be the shotgun about Hilberto. He's down to about 1,000 health, but down goes Beansu. Double kill so far for Nukeduck. Is going to be the kill onto turret number 1. Only 1 turret remains.
They're pinching him off.
The backside. Senkux is going to stand still. He knows he's going down. It's going to be 3 kills on the map. Now only Trashy and Chrisland alive. All of them 0 kills, 0 assists. Nocturnal gets popped.
He just doesn't want to be seen. Don't look at me.
Hiding in the backgrounds. The Shadow's not going to do much for these guys. NIP, are they going to dive the fountain?
Don't dive the fountain. You give up the perfect game. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Nukeduck!
It's a perfect game.
Ninjas in Pyjamas, in control the entire time. 32 minutes. Don't drop a kill. Don't drop a turret. Don't drop a dragon. Well played.
I'm speechless after that. That was an amazing performance by NIP from start to finish.
Yeah.
It's completely dominating.
Yeah.
And if I was at the bottom of the EU LCS right now, I'd be shaking in my boots because NIP look really strong.
NIP look incredibly strong. I mean, they did get relegated.
That's true.
Last split, right? They fell out of the summer split out of that roster spot, but honestly, they stuck together into the challenger scene, kept these same 5 members. Actually, no, they had them in for a little while, but they've made it work with Hilberto now in the lineup after split 1. They added Hilberto in a split 2. They've looked this strong the entire way through. These guys play the same style. They play the controlled style, and it just seems like no matter how good you are, you can't get in on these guys.
Yeah, low risk, low reward, but you keep piling that reward on. It's going to add up to this huge cash sum and nothing for your opponents. The big thing.
Yeah.
They didn't even give up a kill. They didn't allow them to start getting back into the game, which is huge.
Yeah.
Especially with a team that wants to try to scale or come back. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at these inhibitor turrets going down. And I'm like, how could Reason Gaming possibly get back into this game? It is an incredibly frustrating play style to play against.
Sure.
When you know that their rotations are a little bit better than yours, just like their mechanics are a little bit better than yours.
Yep.
And
their lanes are better than yours.
Exactly. They're just going to slowly but surely get ahead of you.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything about it. It's like drowning very slowly.
Yeah.
I don't want to play against that.
No, I would definitely lose to any one of the people on NIP if I fought against them. And honestly, it's also worth pointing out, like, I know people will criticize this as a bit of a slow style, and certainly they're not making a lot of flashy plays. They're playing incremental advantage. But that was a 32-minute game. That's like par for the course game time. They do close it out. They're not just sitting in the lanes for no reason. They're getting advantage the whole time.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that it allows them to close out the game without backing, with I think about at least 10k gold just sitting between
in their
all
pockets,
their inventories,
yeah,
they're fine. I thought they were going to back, because that's what we see all the time is people are like, we're going to push an inhib, and then we're going to back. They're like, no, 1, 2, 3, Nexus turrets, pick them off. Go ahead, get the Nexus. I was like, what is happening?
And they closed the game out with, I think, like single-digit kills. So, of course, a well-played game to NIP. Guys, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, it's time for Game 2 in this best of 3 between Reason Gaming and Ninjas in Pyjamas.